In this video, I walk you through the 4 steps of sailboat teak maintenance and explain why I prefer sealer versus oil. While exploring the options, I quickly learned that most sailors are loyal to a particular product. As soon as I mentioned I was working on my teak, it seemed that everyone has their one and only product and there were no others. I kept an open mind as I processed all the information and online research to make a data-based decision, and whether right or wrong, this is what I did for my teak decks. I used a low PSI power washer to remove years of sand, salt, and other contaminants. However, several people warned me that power washers can destroy teak, especially in areas with existing damage. This brings us to step 1, thoroughly rinse the teak.
So one of the things I'm trying to do is get the old Cetol off. I don't know how it's pronounced, C-E-T-O-L. There was a coating on that, and even in the remarks of the surveyor, he recommended removing the unattractive Cetol coating. And here you can see, this is just using a small powered power washer and just getting the dirt and getting that finish off. The system I'm using is a product from Starbright, and they have a 3-step process which involves cleaning the teak brightener, and actually oiling it. I'd heard several people say that you needed extra cleaner, so I did. I ordered an extra bottle, and exactly what they said. It took 2 bottles to get through this. I'm about to begin the brightener section, and tomorrow we'll tape off everything and do the oil. All right, I've taken the Starbright teak cleaner and I've moved it to the spray bottle. And we're going to do a test run in our sugar scoop here, and it says to do it on a dry surface. Now my bilge dumps out on here, so I can't prevent that. When we haul out, we're actually going to relocate that. But anyway, so we're going to start on the lowest spots because they'll be dry. So we'll do this, then if that goes well, we will move to the sole of. Let's see how this works. So it says to spray this on, let it sit for 1 minute, then we scrub, then we rinse it. I can already tell that this may not be enough cleaner. I've heard several people say that the kit that comes with all 3 doesn't have enough, so I bought an extra one, but wow, that just used a lot, and that's a small area.
I found it easier to scrub the teak after applying a small amount of water. The cleaner is supposed to sit for a minute, but often it would start to dry out, and without being wet, it was nearly impossible for the grime to wash away. It's hard to see in the video, but the water was brown, which led us to repeat this step a second time. Some areas were worse than others. Hopefully in the future, with a little bit more upkeep, we don't have to repeat the additional step.
So one of the reasons we want to do this teak right now is because we're considering having the boat professionally polished. And you can see the mess that this makes, and we don't want to make it messier after we spend the money to have it polished, which is turning out to be a lot more expensive than we expected. But if we can get the teak looking good, then they can come through and polish, and I think this is going to look like a brand new boat.
To ensure everything was consistently scrubbed with the cleaner, we started aft and moved forward. Once we reached the bow, we were ready to start with step 2, which is to apply the brightener.
That didn't take long. I just applied and scrubbed this one section. Look at the difference here on the brightener. You see little small pieces where I set the sponge down? That's going to look really good. I'm only on the 2nd step, but look at the difference here. Look at this teak here. That's had the brightener on it. And look how much darker it is down here. I can't believe what a big difference it made in such a short time. Now it's not been easy. It's a lot of scrubbing, and you can see some, I don't know if it's for drying differently, or I'm not getting as smooth of a coverage on there, but you can see some patterns here, but I'm hoping that'll thin out here shortly. Wow, big difference, and really happy with it. I can't wait to get the oil on it and get that final finish. The sugar scoop, now while it's a bit more weathered, it didn't lighten up as much as I thought it would. Look at these shots here, the before and after. You can see where I was working, I was coming around the table in the cockpit, and look at that. That's crazy, it looks so good. I'm really a fan of this. Here's what I'm using, Starbright. This was the cleaner. There's two processes to step one, which was a ton of labor. Now this part is only one step. Here I'm using the brightener, but this is where you get to see the benefits of all the hard work. And I don't know if I showed it before, but I'm using some of these scrubbers that I found on Amazon. I bought a box of 12. I don't know if the quality is that great. You see I'm running through it really quick. But again, I had 12 of them and I've only used one. Look at this. I'm just absolutely shocked how great this looks. And this is a guy that's not a big fan of teak. If I had my option for a boat to have a lot of teak or no teak, I would pick no teak any day. So I'm about to start on the side. Ooh, I'm still over. I know these are going to really brighten up because they're really dirty and stained. I mean, I've cleaned most of the dirt out of them with the first step. So I don't have much more to do. Well, I'm probably at the halfway point. So I got these two rails here on the port and starboard, and then I have all the sides, and there's a little bit here. I say a little, it's actually quite a bit up here at the bow. So this is where I stopped right here. I did the bow, and then I did this complete side. Maybe it's the way the sun's hitting it or something. It's not showing as dramatic a difference. You definitely notice on these rails here, they brightened up quite a bit. As we come back here, going aft, you do see a big difference.
Well, it's running pretty clear.
Yeah, power washed it thoroughly, and the initial step, I scrubbed it twice, and then you got another scrub with putting the brightener on, so it should be running clear. All right, we're at the end of day one. I didn't get much video because my little helper right here got sick. I think it was stage, so I'm not sure what was going on. You can see how bright this is. It is certainly brightened, and we're hoping to get the oil on tomorrow, but we have a lot of taping, and I think that's probably going to take majority of the time is getting it taped. It's supposed to be raining all the way until tomorrow morning.
We came out today to oil the teak and finish that project, but I don't think this is the ideal conditions for oiling teak on the outside of my boat. We just looked at the radar and it looks like it's going to be raining all day, and I'd need it to stop raining and then be dry for probably 2 or 3 hours to get everything dry for the oil. So I think we're going to kick that can down the road a little bit and wait for some better weather. All right, as you can see, the weather improved, so I decided to come back. It is about 2:30 right now, and I think that's just enough time for me to knock out this last part of the teak project. But I want to start with just taking a look and see what the overall condition looks like, and it's remarkable. It just looks amazing. So I'm making sure to see what's dry and not dry, and so that we can start this oiling process. And what I think I'll do is I'll start here in the bow and kind of work my way backwards. That makes the most sense to me. Actually, I might do some test runs with these little smaller strips to see how much oil I'm going to be going through, because I only have one container and I have a lot of oil, but I suspect that it will go pretty fast. There's still some wet spots you'll see, like here on the edges here, but hopefully that'll dry out pretty quick. I've read in a couple people's comments that if you have any wet spots, that when you put the oil down, you'll see those behind because it's not going to absorb the same. So we're a little bit ahead of ourselves, but I got some areas I can work. To give you a general idea of what it looks like after the cleaning and the brightener, I could easily leave it just like this and be super happy with it. So one of the first steps is taping off these different surfaces so that you don't get the oil on it. From other reviews that I've seen where people were working on oiling their teak, I saw that they got oil on the fiberglass hull and it was a little harder to get off if it came off at all. So I'm going to spend a little bit extra time and lay down some plumber's tape. I got plenty of this, not plumber's tape, painter's tape. I got plenty of this, and I just want to protect that so it'll be less work that I have to worry about in the future. I have all the areas taped up that might have some oil get onto the other surfaces other than the teak. So this is going to be our first test area, and I probably ought to use a more inconspicuous area because this is highly visible. When you walk onto the boat and walk downstairs, it's something you're going to see, but I'm pretty confident this is going to be easy. So what I'm using is the Starbright teak oil, and I took a couple old rags, ripped them up,
and I'm going to try to use those. They actually show you brushing it on, but just for some reason I feel like this would be easier to get a more even coverage. And I'm real curious how far this is going to take and go. Okay, I could see on the bigger surfaces where you might want to brush it on, because this wood is so porous, it's absorbing it. It's taking multiple coatings to get it to cover. All right, our first piece is done. So let's look. We have a before, and then we have an after. It's a nice rich look. I'm happy with it. It almost looks a little hints of red in this teak. I noticed that the edges seem to absorb it a lot more than the flat surfaces. I'm happy with the amount of scrubbing that I'm doing, that I don't see a dirty rag. So we've done so much prep to this teak. It's really clean. All right, the test area is now complete, and I'm really happy with how it came out. One of the first suggestions I have is to follow the instructions. If you actually look at this stuff, it says to brush it on using a brush or foam brush. But I thought that I was smarter than that. I could just rub it on with a towel. And so if you look here, it just really did absorb all of it. It looks okay, but I think the better result is going to be to use this towel and a brush to kind of get it in thicker, because you can see dry spots. I will go through a lot more oil this way, but I'd rather it be done right. And now I have a towel under this because I'm pouring it in order to make sure that I don't make a mess, because as this sponge starts getting more saturated, it's likely to drip. And you can see the importance of the tape now. Definitely going to go through a lot more oil, so I'm questioning whether this is going to be enough for this project. We'll do it in batches so we can stop at an even spot. In fact, I've already started doing that. Let's turn the camera around. I'll show you. I got some weather wanting to come in here. If you look out that direction, I don't know which way it's moving. On the radar, it looked like it was moving south, which would be that way. It's clear this direction. That's where the rain was earlier. But hopefully I can get at least what I have done. So you'll see that I've done the tops here in the cockpit. You can see I got them over here behind each helm. I have the transom seat and the little pull. So I'm gonna try to get these knocked out. The oil doesn't take long at all. It's the taping's taking a lot longer than I thought it would. There's been a change of plans, as you might see from the power washer. Yesterday I was able to do some of the oiling, and I'm just not real happy with how the results came out. So I'm going to power wash, try to get some of this oil off. Then I'll go through, clean and brighten it again to get it back to this color. And I've done a little bit of research since I last did this work. And I think I want to move to a sealer so I can keep more of this golden look that you see on modern boats versus this darker traditional look. And so after I've read a little bit, the oil is a lot more maintenance. You're keeping up with it every 1 to 3 months, where the sealing is anywhere from 8 to 12 months. There's certainly an advantage if I only have to do the maintenance twice a year versus every quarter. And it was actually quite a bit of work with this amount of teak. The taping, that's just not hard work, it's just very, very time consuming. So the only unfortunate side to it is the sealer is quite expensive, just under a couple $100 for a gallon. And from everything I've read, it's going to take a full gallon to cover this amount of area, if I can even get it to cover. Anyway, so let me get to it. I want to power wash and get all this cleaned up. See if I can start, breaking it out a little bit, and then we'll do the cleaner and brightener tomorrow or Thursday. And then this weekend, we'll try to finish up this project by putting the sealer on. I'm not convinced that did any good. It's still beating up quite a bit, letting me know there's quite a bit of oil. but I know it didn't hurt, so it just will give me a head start on the cleaning for the second time, as well as allowing the brightener to do its job.
The sealer is notably more thick, which makes it easy to apply, and several articles suggest that sealers offer better UV and mold protection over other products such as oils.
What little we did with the oil, we went ahead and cleaned it and power washed that off and re-brightened it, and so now we're working with sealer, and the color is so much better. So I have worked on some here, and you'll see I didn't do the side on the right. That's just with it being brightened, and here's with the sealer on it. I just really enjoy that rich gold color versus bringing out the reds and dark like mahoganies that you would see with the oil. Here you can again see. You can see what I've done. Let me get out of the sun here. Grab it. There you go. So super excited about this. I like the natural look, but this is just a shade light. And I think as the sun bakes it in, it'll lighten up even more, but I couldn't be happier with it. And the application is really easy. It's just taping everything is a pain. I'll show you an example here. So like we didn't tape right here, so you see that I have it on the hole, but we've tested some spots and we're able to clean it off fairly easy. We'll do this again next year. Oh look, real quick, I did this part of the cockpit. I haven't done the floor, but you can see where I would stop before we just went to have lunch. So we have probably about another 2 hours if we stay working continuously, and none too soon. We're pretty tired of working on this. We've had a little bit of rain this morning, and you can see how well the sealer beats up the water. That looks really good.
It's been raining every day for a couple weeks, which is why you see the rain droplets. I was hopeful that the project would be done once I removed the tape, but instead, it shows that I was rushing, and now I have to clean the hull before the sealer stains the gel coat.
All right, we are down to the last step, and what I need to do is clean up. See where I had tape right here, but I got a little sloppy towards the end, and the sealer got on the hull here, and it's not coming off. Even my finger's wet right now, so I need to get some acetone. And I have it all over, some spots worse than others. You can see this was towards the end of the project. Again, I was tired, just ready for this to be over. We got about 3 weekends tied into this project. We'll start doing this every spring when it's cooler, and hopefully it won't be as bad. You'll see smudge marks like this from the sealer when I was in a rush towards the end of the project, which just happened to be done. So what I'm using is a small Brillo pad and some acetone to try to scrub it off. It's not coming off quite as easy as I'd like. I know when it was, well, that one actually came off. I don't know if you can see it, but there's little bitty dots all throughout here. I'm holding the camera at a weird mark. So I was using a foam roller, and I didn't notice that there was any splash coming up, but apparently it was, because now that I look at it closer, I see these little bitty dots. But towards the end, like I said, I was getting tired. I had been working on this project for several weekends, and I was applying it really thick because that makes it absorb, so I don't have to do as many different layers. You just got to put a little bit of elbow grease into it, and I'm sure the camera's not showing it, but there's just hundreds, if not thousands, of these little bitty dots. And I'm going to get the hull clean, both on the freeboard and on the deck here, but I'm just worried about this stain leaving a lasting discoloration, so I want to get it out now. Without pain, there is no pride. And speaking of that, let me show you how prideful I am of these teak decks. After about 4 weekends, and I'm not kidding when I say I was out here Saturday and Sunday, and I think there was a 3-day weekend on one of them that I've spent working on this teak, and boy does it look good. But I have got some serious hours. I was trying to calculate it in my head, and I'm sitting at least 50 of just non-stop work hours. And that's not me driving to the marina and getting set up. That's me actually working. So here we are at the bow. Excuse me, I got some loose lines. And I was rushing to get this project done because the boat is being hauled out tomorrow. There's still some, let me show you here, some little bit of white here. So that was, I was scrubbing the hull, and it wasn't rinsing it fast enough, and so you'll see that. But that actually cleans up really, really easily. Today it's already after 5 on Sunday. I'm getting hauled out at 8:30 in the morning. So one little rain and that'll clean that up. But take a look at this. The color's beautiful. You saw in the other footage that I have when it rains, how it just beads up, so that sealer is doing some amazing work. Surprisingly, the wood tow rail was probably one of the more challenging just because of the location. But there is a ton of teak in this boat, and it is a lot of work. So I've said before, and some people have even teased me, that I don't like teak, well, I don't prefer teak. So if you'd give me the option of this boat with and without, without for sure. But now that I have it and I've taken a lot of care of it, I like how it looks. I cringe at the idea that this is a once a year project. I'm hoping there was a little bit of neglect, and that resulted in more work than usual. So maybe it won't be so bad next time, but there was some lessons learned, and we're going to go over that in this video. But there we go. We are finally finished. I have had at least 4 days where I've come out here, started the intro, and said, all right, today we should be able to wrap up the teak. And that's always just, it's a slap in the face because we're nowhere even close to being finished.
That's lesson number 1. Depending on your boat, expect this project to take a long time. And as I learned, rushing will only slow you down in the long run. Lesson number 2, don't leave painter's tape on the hull for more than 24 hours. Otherwise, you'll find yourself painstakingly pulling off tiny little pieces of tape.
That's a wrap. So now we're going to haul out, and now the real work begins, because I think we have about 10 days worth of projects. All right, stay tuned for that.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching till the end and following my journey, one adventure at a time. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Stay tuned next week to see what happens when a gooseneck snaps in the middle of a race. All right, we'll see you next time.